What's up, YouTube? Eugenius here. Hope you're all well. With the launch of Dior's Homme 2020, we're going to be seeing a ton of reviews being released. And, with that, I was just kind of inspired to wear original release 2005, which is a Olivier Polge creation. I kind of met a Dior rep recently, and we were talking about Dior Homme and the new 2020, and she was so excited, and she mentioned Francois Demachy and how she loves his work, and I was like, but he didn't create the original Dior Homme. And she was like, she stepped back, and she was kind of confused how I knew about that. But a point being is Demachy hasn't really created a whole lot for Dior other than Sauvage and Joy. You go back to the classics, all he's done is the flankers, which I'm not sure we can really credit him for that. Okay, sure, he made the flankers, but he didn't make the original releases of Fahrenheit or Eau Sauvage, and even for the women's, Addict wasn't his creation. Is it J'adore? He didn't create J'adore or Poison or any of those. The only thing he's really created for Dior has been the Maison Dior, the private line. I think he's made the Cruise collection, but nobody gives a shit about the Cruise collection, and nobody really cares about Sauvage and Joy. They're the worst of the bunch. So, which had me thinking, every time I wear this, every single time I wear Dior Homme, and I've never really spoken about this publicly, and I thought they were just thoughts. I should keep them in my head. But, after today, I'm kind of convinced, and I don't have any proofs or facts, and they're just thoughts and ideas that I want to share with my viewers. And, maybe there's somebody out there that has similar thoughts or ideas or even proof or can back it up or debate with me. I don't know. Whatever you want to do. Let's have an argument. I don't care. But every single time I wear this, or even the 2011 release, which is credited to Demachy, but I can't help but feel like Polge has his hands all over this one as well. Not only that, but Polge was credited for this, but I feel like even his father, Jacques, who's the head perfumer of Chanel, had his hands and his nose and his mind and his ideas all over this as well. And the reason being simply because it doesn't fit the Dior aesthetics. It is just way too soft and subtle and unisex for Dior masculine, which are outrageously masculine, when you look at Fahrenheit and Eau Sauvage. But this, aesthetically speaking, fits right into the Chanel Exclusifs, which were created about 2 years apart. This is 2005, and the Exclusifs were launched 2007. So 2 years apart isn't a whole lot of time. It isn't a long time in perfume years in between launches. So it almost makes me think it's like a rejected Chanel or something that didn't fit for whatever reason. And the whole idea, the whole reasoning behind this is every time I wear it, I'm like, man, this smells so much like a Chanel. It smells so much like it belongs in that exclusive line. It's got things in here. It's got several things that remind me of Chanel Exclusives. It's got things that remind me of from the Chanel women's range, specifically Coco Mademoiselle. It's got a nice grapefruit and pear note in here that you can find in Coco Mademoiselle. It's very powdery. It's soft. It's subtle. It's it's got that iris accord, which Chanel is known for. The Chanel Exclusives is known for the iris. The whole exclusive line is a theme on iris. And, I almost feel like this could have been in 2005. We all know that Chanel plans well ahead. This could have been Boy Capel for all we know. It has similarly, fundamentally, structurally, it is almost, I'm not talking scent-wise, it is almost like transition for transition, development for development, complexity, the changes, the pyramid, it is similar to Boy Capel. So when I wear this, okay, they both kind of got lavender, and that's kind of where the similarities end. But you know, the powderiness, just the way they're built, they're just so similar to me. And I can't help but think, okay, boy, I can't help but think from 1932, it's also got, it's got that pear. I don't know if it's got grapefruit, but it's got pear. It's got the same colors. When I wear it, it doesn't smell like Coromandel, but it reminds me a lot of Coromandel. It's almost like it's got something similar. Maybe the colors, they both kind of got that golden, ambery hues of, that powderiness. They've got the same texture. I know, patchouli's never talked about, but there is a very refined patchouli in here. Unlike here it's very textured and it's a little bit more abrasive. It's still refined, but it's not as smooth as it is in here. You've got that tobacco in the dry down. You've got what they call cacao. Cacao is obviously not a note that they're gonna you can't extract cocoa powder, so that's probably coming from a combination of ambers and patchoulis where you get that tobacco and cacao. And they're both very ambery and powdery, so there's a lot of linear similarities between these and from a bunch of other Chanels as far as I can notice. And I'm much more versed in Chanels than I am with Dior's, although I've got a lot of experience with Dior perfumes at all. This just to me screams like it's, I hate to say the word reject because this is a stunning composition. I absolutely love it. The craftsmanship is impeccable. The materials, everything is just a perfect fragrance. Masculine, feminine, I don't care, unisex, but it just totally fits in the Chanel line. I'm not sure logistically how it ended up with Dior. It could have been created in Chanel laboratories, between the father and son. I think the whole thing to me is very fascinating how this ended up with Dior, because I truly believe it is a Chanel creation. Olivier Polge, now the perfumer for Chanel, has created it. Another weird oddity that I noticed, which has nothing to do with Dior Homme, but here's another father-son combination, and this is Jacques Polge's Egoiste, and this is Olivier's Spice Bomb, which I also see kind of a tribute that Olivier played to his father with this perfume. Obviously, this is much less mass appealing, but they definitely have a lot of similarities, especially in the spicy wood accords that both got. So I feel like, Olivier does like to pay homage to his father, which is probably his, his mentor and teacher, which is great, That's just kind of where I'm feeling. That's things that I've noticed. The Dior Homme, like you can see Olivier's really starting to come in on his own now with Chanel. I feel he's even surpassed Demachy as a perfumer. I much prefer Olivier's work than the heavy-handed Demachy. I really like his light, subtle touches. That's kind of where my comfort zone is. I really like those light, airy, not that Dior Homme is light and airy, but it is subtle. It is closer to the skin than it is like one of those banging perfumes. But I even see, similarities to a lot of the Lizeau, especially Paris Venice. I can see that powdery oriental that I can see, or that I get with Dior Homme as well. So just, the whole thing, it's always on my mind whenever I'm wearing Dior Homme, which I love a lot. Like, it's, one of my favorite fragrances of all time. So just some random thoughts I thought I'd bring up, if you guys are getting bored of watching the en masse reviews of Homme 2020, which will be coming out you know, before you know it. But just something to ponder. Let me know what you guys think. Do you guys see any similarities? You're probably going to need to be versed in the exclusives before you can make a comparison. But something that I think about all the time. I just can't help but notice how much Dior Homme should have been Chanel Homme. That would have been something to see that in a Chanel bottle. Man, oh man. Anyway, look forward to your comments, and I'll see you again soon.